This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
We are back here today talking about oversharing, why we do it, what to choose instead. That's right. So today, oversharing, we're going to dive into everything about it. And right now, Cindi, we're going to welcome you back to the show. For those that don't know, Cindi DuMond, she's an owner of her own company and coach at Don't Despair Coaching, based out of Daytona Beach, Florida. Welcome. How are you?
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me again. I'm excited to be here with you and your audience.
Well, we are happy too, because I want to talk more about this oversharing, right? Because I think all of us have kind of been there, right? Could you share a little bit about this?
I'd love to. Many of us don't realize that we overshare, but when we do it, what we're actually looking for is like a longing or a connection. But what happens usually instead is that we're left with like a feeling of regret or guilt or shame afterwards. So it backfires, yes, on us.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about this because, it's an important topic, especially for people going through a longing, I should say, for connection, right? But when we overshare, sometimes we're left with regret, guilt, shame. We're kind of left empty. So what we're going to do is, of course, talk to a special guest today as well. And Cindi, this is really powerful. And I would love for you to introduce our guest who can give us this real life perspective. Guest speaker Annette Haven's joining us from upstate New York. And I read that you two met when Annette worked at Cindy's daughter's recreation as the therapist, I should say, right? You were a recreation therapist for her daughter, and that was for like 5 months. So let's talk a little bit about that. And really, Annette, I know you became curious about Cindi, her teachings and all of this as well when the two of you met. So would love to have you both introduce yourself, and we're going to get right into oversharing.
Well, I'd like to thank Annette. Thank you. I know she's at work right now, so she only has about 5 minutes. So I really appreciate you coming on here to tell our listeners about your experience.
Sure. I met Cindi through her daughter at where I worked. We kind of bonded a bit there because I had a son of her daughter's age, so I really felt for what she was going through because I'm a complete empath and I take everybody's issues in on myself too. And then when Cindi started doing this work, I saw the benefits that she was getting just from herself, like her whole person changed. Like she felt more confident. She was, just working through things and not just freaking out. And that's how I always felt I did. I freaked out about everything. And when she started doing this, and I was like, I need to try this. Like, let's do this. Yeah. That's kind of how this got started with Cindi. And, we become friends a little bit through this with her daughter. But since then, it's still both. But she's been a very critical help for me in a lot of stressful times over the past 5 years.
Well, I know that you only have a few minutes, so maybe I'll just have Cindi, if you want to ask her the questions that you think are important. So I don't want to keep you longer than you can. So go ahead. What would you want to ask her to share?
Go for it. What benefits, how it helped your family, your marriage,
sure.
your children, anything?
So I saw Cindi a few times individually. And then, my husband and I, we've both done traditional talk therapy individually, couples therapy over many years. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary this week. And, marriage is not an easy thing. And we had a lot of issues going through at times. But I think with Cindi's help, she really helped us find the root of the problem and feel comfortable with each other talking about it. Being not like a mediator, but giving us the right words and the right feelings and the right, what's the other word I wanted to say? just trying to understand each other, where we were each coming from more. In talk therapy, we just felt like we were dumping our problems, blaming each other, and there was no real finish.
Cool.
Like, I feel like we were just still not working on the right things. And just a few sessions with her gave us the tools. One of the big things that we still continue to use is our feelings chart, that, you pinpoint what you are feeling, but from within that feelings chart, there's so many other things that come from that one feeling. So that has been a critical thing for us, and we use it in our house quite often, actually. And it's just been more relieving, and we feel we have the tools to get through a difficult situation. We're okay with saying to each other, listen, I feel this when you did this, and it's easier. We both know where we're coming from now. It's really been helpful.
Got it.
And the grounding tools that she gives us, the tapping, I do that at work sometimes. I'll just sit there like this, and nobody even knows what I'm doing, but I'm calming my nervous system down. So, and meditating, I do that a lot on my own. Affirmations, just trying to stay in the moment and not reflecting back on that future trauma, or what's going to happen in the future, or the past trauma, and the future, what's going to happen. We can't worry about that. She's taught me to learn to sit here right now and feel what you're feeling right now.
Yeah. Pretty impressive. And now the two of you obviously here, working together, I want to dive more into, if we can, really these hidden drivers and what's happening and why we may be oversharing, and what are we trying to do right? What is really something that may be triggering us to get to this situation?
Do you have to go in that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why.
I can go if that's. Yeah, that's fine. And oversharing was a problem I've had too in the past. So, and then,
You're welcome to stay on. I wasn't sure about
I haven't even gone in there yet, so I
Oh,
can stay on.
okay. Well, when we overshare, we're trying to be like, get a common ground with somebody. And like I said earlier, it leaves us exposed, misunderstood. We feel ashamed. And today we want to normalize why it happens, and so that we can honor our truth while protecting our peace. I think that's really important. So we want to be, when we overshare, we want to be seen, or we want to be known.
Yeah.
But most of the time, maybe we haven't decided if that's a safe person, if we've known that person long enough. Sometimes we do it to manage anxiety or a perceived misunderstanding. For me, this was huge. Like, I would overshare, like, say I have to call in sick at work, for example. I would overshare because I would feel I wasn't believed, or I was going to be misunderstood, right? All that drama, like Annette had mentioned, the future, right? I'm getting lost in a story and assuming that they're not going to believe me. And a lot of that comes from childhood.
Yeah.
And they're all survival strategies, but they don't bring us the connection that we truly need, because who's running the show?
Yeah.
It's usually younger parts of us, or that adolescent chair, the ego part of us trying to keep us safe, or the younger child trying to get a need met. And what I teach you to do is to answer from your healthy adult.
Yeah. And, reading, further in your notes, you offer this adult chair. Could you share a little bit about what this is and how it really helps people? Because, you also mentioned, Cindy, that you started this young, right? Because you never had these boundaries and you also felt a little misunderstood, which I know, our guests can relate to and empathize with as well. So what is this, program that is so powerful that can help us?
Well, it's a therapeutic model that's used all over the world, and it really deals with the three parts of our personality. The developing part is
Okay.
0 to 6, even pre-birth, and that part of us has no discernment. So, like we are like a computer program,
Yep.
just downloading whatever people are telling us out there, and because we lack that discernment. And then around 7 years old, the ego, or we like to call that middle chair, the adolescent chair, comes over and says, don't worry, child, I have it, I'll
Yep.
figure it out. And what we like to do healthy, by 25 we move into our healthy adult, but a
Yep.
lot of us, 5 to 97% of the population, are running around from that middle ego chair. So where this comes in with the oversharing is if we can stop and like I had to, right, what I learned, I had to relearn. We can stop and ask, that is this my inner child trying to get safety? Is it why am I telling this person that? Is it my adolescent trying to manage anxiety or stress, or like I had mentioned, a perceived problem, or I'm trying to ward it off before it gets here? Or is it my healthy adult
Yeah.
and choosing boundaries where I'm only going to tell so much, and once we know that, we can pause and slow down and really choose differently.
Well, also, I heard your backstory. I got to know you, Cindy, since we've spoken before, right? Can I ask you about these boundaries in a sense, right? And once you say we know them, that's when we can pause and kind of slow down and choose differently, right?
Right.
All right.
It's
And
really
some
self-awareness.
and some things I know that you wanted to actually ask our listeners out there, to invite them all here to kind of self-reflect. Let's start with number one. Am I trying to have a need met by sharing this? Could you share a little bit about some of these questions to ourselves that we should be asking?
Absolutely. Am I trying to have a need met by sharing this?
Hmm.
So, am I trying to feel safe? Am I trying to feel like known, important? Um, yeah. Really, what is the underlying? And do I not feel safe? Do I
Yeah.
not feel believed? Not going to be
Hmm.
believed.
Did
So
something
that's
feel triggering, right? All these things. Why are these questions so powerful, would you say?
because they make us slow down, and
Hmm.
they allow us to check in and ask, is this the right person? Am I connected enough here for this level of sharing? And it really allows us privacy, like that. I know I was never allowed. I didn't know that that was a thing, that some things you just don't have to share, even if somebody asks you. Um, for example, how was your day? Well,
Hmm.
you don't want to dump on everybody, but what you could say is, wow, it was a really challenging day. Thank you for asking. Where
Yeah.
you're still acknowledging your truth that it was a difficult day, but
Hmm.
yet you're protecting yourself and really the other person. You're not dumping on them. And then, like I said, it gives you a pause, and maybe that person will come back and ask you another question where you could share a little more.
Beautifully
Sit,
said.
sit.
Well, also, we can discuss a little bit about what to start choosing instead, right? Because you say, so if oversharing isn't the answer, then really what is?
Well, I'm so glad we have time. One of the things, like I had mentioned, is just slowing down. really slowing down. And like Annette had said, being in the moment, and I had mentioned this in last week's episode as well, when we are in the future, that's where anxiety and stress hang out. When we're
Yep.
in the past, that's where regret and depression hang
Mm-hmm.
out. You really want to get in this moment right now. So slowing down really gives yourself some space before you speak. Another one of my tools that I'd like to say about this is really staying in your own boat. Notice when you are jumping into assumptions or jumping into a story, like I had mentioned, maybe about calling in sick at work, right? Do they really want to know what's going on in the toilet? Or no, right? But I have this perceived story that they're not going to believe me, which
Mm-hmm.
I believe is from, that over explaining, that oversharing. So I think that's important. Choosing boundaries, when you become aware of this,
Yeah.
because to feel that regret or shame, or why did I say that? And did I need to say that? So really, it allows you to ask, is this appropriate for that relationship? And then the last thing is just practicing nervous system regulation, taking a breath,
Yep.
taking just a moment. Even with a text message, you get that ding. You don't have to answer it immediately.
I know. I know. But we all jump, don't we?
I think that ding is like a cortisol releaser. Definitely. Yes.
Well, I'm glad here in New York State. I don't know about what other states. There's a new law. My kids are 8 and 10, going back to school. There's no cell phones allowed in school anymore. I think it's a great thing
Mhm.
because I feel like all the kids are so distracted from those dings and pings and checking social media while they're in between classes. It's just baffling. But you're right. It's very distracting and it's unsettling what it's doing to our mind.
Yeah, we walk like this and talk about being in the moment and seeing what's around us, right?
Yeah.
I need to go now, ladies. So
And
if there's
thank you.
anything else I can say,
Well,
thank you so much for having me. And I hope I help the listeners and really take advantage. Cindy's a really wonderful coach, and I probably wouldn't be where I am today if she hadn't helped me through all this. Because traditional therapy just didn't work for me.
beautiful. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
so
So
much,
nice to meet
Annette.
you.
You too. Bye, sweetheart. Go back to work. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Very kind of her to come here
Thanks. Bye.
and share her story. And we still have 10 more minutes, sweetheart. Let's continue. What else, should we, choose instead? You say, what does it look like in real life, right?
Yeah. Well, for me, like I said, I feel like it really came from childhood. And just that always feeling afterwards, like, why did I say that? And why
Yeah.
didn't I, why did I do that? So choosing instead, really asking you can ask those three parts of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
is that well, if it is my younger child trying to get safety, right? Like you were trying to feel safe, you can actually ask, well,
Mm-hmm.
what does part of me need to feel safe? Right? Because talking and oversharing,
Yeah.
I'm trying to feel safe, but it's not
Excuse
working.
me. I sneezed. Got it. Thank you.
So we can actually ask that part, what do you need? I
Yeah.
mean, what do you
Yeah.
need to feel safe? And then give yourself that. Same thing with the adolescent. What are you trying to manage? You're trying to manage that, like me calling in sick at work was huge anxiety. So that was my adolescent, that ego trying to ward off that stress by over. So once again, what do I need? That boundary that it's okay that I call in sick. I'm okay. I have the time, and really talking those parts down and reassuring those they're not bad parts. They're us. They're us. They just are stuck in younger they're stuck in our body. We had talked about that last week as well. So they just need some reassurance from that healthier adult part of us.
Sure do.
Yeah.
And I know we want people to realize, um, well, what may I ask you, what would you say is like the takeaway in all of this, and for listeners to really recognize within themselves?
Well, I'd say that you're not broken
Mm-hmm.
if you overshare. And I don't want you to beat yourself up if you overshare and you're having those feelings of regret or shame. Um, you're just trying to, there's just a longing to be seen.
Yeah.
And when we slow down and we ask ourselves these right questions, um, we can share from our healthy adult
Yeah.
and give ourselves that security and that connection that we want, but in a healthier, safer way that honors our truth and our boundaries.
Well, also, you mentioned that really, you're not broken and there's help out there. And for people out there who may be feeling broken or not well, and maybe something today kind of resonated with them, right? You can really help people transform. I mean, it was great to hear from Annette and, of course, her experience with you. Did you want to share another client story with us? We still have some more time.
Um, Another client story. It blows my mind, and I'm humbly saying this. But it blows my mind when I hear I've been in traditional counseling for years, and I mean, after one session, people feel better.
Yeah.
It's just a way of life. And like I said, I've had a lot of teachers through my career that
Mm-hmm.
have gotten me to where I am to be able to help your audience today. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited.
Beautiful. Well, we are excited that you're here helping so many people. And I love that you can offer people these tools. And let's talk a little bit about, your time for those that may not know a little bit about Don't Despair Coaching. And just quickly, a little bit of your background, since we do have the time to engage. You as an RN, right? Could you just share a little bit of that backstory in case there's new listeners today of what brought you here to help caregivers, professionals, and so many people?
Yep. Well, my first degree is in mortuary science. So
Mm-hmm.
I was a licensed funeral director, and I got into that real quick. With my dad, I didn't spend much time with him, got to deliver flowers with him to funeral homes. And that was my first recollection of, helping people at the worst time of their life. And then I became an RN. And when I found this model, and I love helping people through this. You don't have to live the way that you live. You just don't. Um, so yeah.
Good. Well, I love hearing that, and you're very helpful, and you're here. If anyone does want to reach out, I know you do offer a complimentary discovery call. Could you share a little bit about what that is?
I do. If today's topic stirred anything in you or it resonated, I'd love for you to hop on a call with me. Go to don'tdespaircoaching.com/free call, and let's chat about it.
Good.
Let's talk about what I can help you transform in your life. I also love to hang out on social media. Uh, Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I have Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And I have a lot of free tools on my website that you can start implementing today.
Got it.
So
And what's that website? How can we contact you?
it's don'tdespaircoaching.com. Yeah, my phone number's on there. And yeah, I'm also at cindydumond.com. It's the same website. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. A pleasure having you here, and glad you brought Annette on. Very informative and helpful. And did you want to leave us off with a little quote today?
Oh, I would love to. One of my favorites that I throw out is Paulo Coelho. I don't know if your listeners resonate with him, but he's wonderful. And when you say yes to others, make sure you're not saying no to yourself. And I think that's huge. Even for oversharing.
Oh my
know?
goodness. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much. You have a
Yes.
fantastic day. Cindi DuMond, Don't Despair Coaching. Reach out. Also show over social media, and we'll talk to you soon. You have a fantastic day. Thank you for enlightening us, okay? Always a pleasure seeing you, sweetheart.
Thank you. My
Thank
pleasure.
you. Bye. We'll talk soon.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.